Thank you, thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes, yes. How y'all doing today? I came in from Des Moines. I've been up since about 5:45 this morning. I have another presentation to do right after this one too in Des Moines. So it's gonna be a day of just presentations, I guess. But everybody's doing all right? Do you know this is the first time I've ever been to Grinnell? And I lived in Iowa for 20 years. Never been here before. So I know, isn't that horrible? It's just a horrible thing, right? But I'm glad to be here this morning with you all. You do have a handout. We'll be doing some reflective work and some work, but I'm also a very informal presenter. So if something comes up and you have a question, just ask me the question in the moment. I have no problem with that. Try and get my eye contact and we can have a conversation. And though I prepared slides, it's really not about the slides, right? It's about the content. So sometimes I don't get through all my slides. That's fine. It always tends to work out because the conversation will get through the rest of my slides anyway, so I'm not really concerned about that. If you would like a copy of the slides though, I do have a QR code that's gonna pop up at the end, and you can just scan that QR code and I'll get them to you, not today, because I have another presentation to do, but I will get them to you as soon as I can. All right, so today, might help if I turn on my clicker. This is what we're going to talk about. I'm also the type who doesn't like to read to everybody because I feel that you all can read off the slide, right? Can everybody see the slides from the back though? Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. But the first thing I want to first start off is understanding brand identity. So you have a handout that looks something like this. And the first question on that handout I want you to answer is, and I want you to answer in two ways. What's your brand in one word? What's your personal brand? And what's your company organizational brand as well? So you have two adjectives. You can only use one word to identify what your brand is. And I'm not going to give you the definition of anything right now. I want you to write it down because we're going to come back to this question at the end. But this is for me to find out what you feel a brand is. So in one word, personal brand, organization, company, brand. What is your brand? And I have these pictures up here just to give you a little bit of an idea of when you see certain pictures, it immediately attaches you to a brand, right? So think of it in that context. And how many of y'all are struggling already? And this is what's interesting because how are you marketing then? Right? What do you want that brand to look like? So as you continue to think and write down, because some of y'all haven't written down anything yet, I see you. As you continue to think, right? I have a brand as a martial artist. I am a martial artist. So if you see my brand, you see two sides of me. You might not have seen it at the front, at the very beginning, but I have a professional brand and a martial arts brand. A lot of people know me in my company as either the BA martial artist, the career ninja, the life coach sensei, or Ninja P Fitness. Everything is connected to martial arts. So depending on where you come into my company, that's how you know me, right? So I have a very particular brand, unique brand. So again, giving you a little bit more of a hint, what is your brand? Personally and professionally. Give you about 30 more seconds. How many of y'all still have no clue what your brand is? Be honest, it's okay. It's okay. That's being real, that's being transparent. How many of you all written down something? I need two people to just throw out something they've written down. First, let's go personal. Two people to give me a personal adjective for their brand. Two people. Any two people.
I put down caring for my personal brand.
Thank you. For your personal brand. Okay. Two people, professional. Homes, okay. Art. You can give me yours. Premium. Interesting. I'm like, premium of what? What premiums are we talking about? Insurance premiums? Oh. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Now you see I had to ask questions. All right, so what is brand? Brand identity is the collection of elements that people perceive you as being. It's your messaging, it's your visual design, it's your core values all wrapped up in one. So when people see you, you are already attached to a brand. How many of you all are on social media? You all do know you have a brand on social media, whether you created it intentionally or not, right? By what you post, what you share, how you comment, how you speak, people have put you in a box, whether you want them to or not. Now, what our job is to make sure that what that box or how they perceive us to be is actually how we want to be perceived. You might find out it's not. And then that gives you intel to say, I might need to change how I'm navigating my brand. But there's a lot of components that make up your brand. This is also on the handout. The first component is messaging. What's your mission statement? What's your vision statement? What's your slogan? What's your brand voice? People know your tone. People know if you are the type of person who likes to stir the pot, who likes to have those controversial conversations, who will say whatever you want to say, and then people know that maybe you're more of a motivator. So for example, I am definitely a motivator. Most of the stuff, if you follow me on social, is motivational. But I have a brother in Chicago who's confrontational. The amount of stuff he puts on socials, I cringe sometimes, but that's his brand, and people, there are certain people who like that. They interact, they talk to him, right? So your messaging has a lot to do with it. Here goes a question. How many of you all know your organizational mission statement? You know it, you've read it, know it by heart, because most of us can't paraphrase it, right? But you've read it, right? How many of you all have a personal mission statement? Nobody raised their hand. Oh, you do. You have a personal mission statement. One person raised their hand. One person. Here's what I'm going to challenge you all to do. A lot of people tie up their brand with the company, or if you're an entrepreneur with your business. Here's what I want to challenge you. If you get laid off from that company or you sell your business, who are you? What is your identity? Your personal mission does feed into your maybe organizational brand if you own your own organization, or feeds into the companies that you work for. But so many people can't tell me what their personal mission is. That's why you're stuck on what your brand is, because you can't communicate that. We have to get down to that level of understanding who we are outside of our organization as well to understand the brand that we want. You know how some people will say you are different in one space and then you're different in another space? And then you kind of want people who are consistent, no matter where you see them, they're the same type of person because you know that's their authenticity. That's what you want, right? Whether I'm the BA martial artist, I'm still Paula Bell. You're still going to get Paula Bell in that, if that goes away or not. Something to think about as you think about what your brand is, okay? Visual identity, your logo. This is probably what you all are familiar with. Your logo, your color palettes, your branding, right? A lot of people think that's one of the biggest pieces of marketing. It is, because you want a consistent, you want that when people see your logo, they know it's you, right? But that's only a component of it. I would almost say the messaging is more important than the logo, than the visual branding. Because if that messaging doesn't hit, it doesn't matter what your logo and your brand is, right? So you have that piece of it, and then you have your values. This is why I say understanding who you are as a person. What are your beliefs? What are your lived experiences? How do you want to interact with your brand? I'm going to give you an example of that. So I'm going to get real vulnerable with y'all. I don't know anybody in this room. Y'all don't know me probably, right? You might have seen me on social, but that's about it. So I'm going to get real vulnerable. And I'm going to tell you why my brand is to motivate, encourage, and inspire others to reach their personal and professional goals, to live the fulfilling life they want to live. Because you are looking at somebody who tried to commit suicide 3 times when I was in college. What that did for me is that made me understand that, number one, I was messed up as a person. I didn't have the self-esteem and the self-worth that I should have had, the value that I should have had. And it was because I didn't deal with stuff that happened in my childhood. I grew up in a household, my mother was a minister. So if you know anything about the church, no matter what faith you are, if you know anything, and I'm a Christian, but if you know anything maybe about the Christian faith, is one thing that we are not always the greatest at is dealing with the realism of what's going on in life. We try and hide it by just pray or just be strong, or you don't have a spirit of fear. That's all great and nice to say. Positive affirmations, all for it, but that still doesn't mean you got to work on the person, right? That's what drives me to do the work that I do. is because of that lived experience, that value that I value myself and I want other people to value themselves is why I do what I do. I rebranded my entire company in 2014, switched it up because my company was really an event planning company. I used to be a wedding director and a wedding planner and a desktop publisher. Now I'm a coach, consultant, and motivational speaker. Never thought that would have been in my journey, but that's what I do now. But it's because of my lived experiences. It's because of those things. And that's what helps me understand the experience I want my clients to have, right? I do not want you in any session you have with me leaving the same way you came in. That's my goal. That's my desired outcome. If I've done one thing to help you feel better out of a session, I feel like I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish for that session, right? So that's why all of these play together and they're all important. And that's why I asked you if you know your personal mission statement. Because what you'll probably be surprised is the reason you are doing the business you're doing, are part of the organizations you're a part of, or working for the companies you work for, is because they have your values, right? What you believe in, they have those things. But what are those things? Can you define them? Make sense? Y'all probably weren't expecting all that from marketing, were you? Probably just expecting this is what you need to market. Marketing goes deeper than just putting stuff out on social, as Nikki said, right? So why a strong brand matters? Memorable first impression. I'm gonna tell you something. How many of y'all know Apple? Whether you're Android or I know there's an Android and Apple conundrum. I'm Apple, but how many of y'all know Apple, right? So when you see that logo, you know it's Apple, right? What's the first words that come to you when you think of Apple? Okay? Okay?
Think different.
Ain't that the truth? Even their shopping, when you go into their stores, is different, right? They're amazing at their marketing. They're expensive as heck too. The first word that comes to me is expensive. They are expensive. Every time I get a new phone, I'm irritated. Irritated. But they make a memorable first impression. When you step into that store, it's like you're stepping into a different reality, right? There's a reason for that. So that's why your brand identity it matters and why it needs to be strong. You want people to remember you. Even if it's 5 years from now, you did something that makes them remember you, right? Next thing, builds trust and credibility. So how many of you all actually own businesses in the room? Own your own business? Okay, do you all give out any free content? Everybody pretty much gives out free content? Okay, if you don't, you should, because that builds your credibility, right? You don't have to charge for everything. Sometimes you have to let people know you know what you're talking about in order for them to buy into you to buy something, right? So it builds trust and credibility. So you want to make sure your brand is strong so that people keep coming back to you. That's what brings the loyalty, is that credibility. Now, AI is becoming a little bit complicated in our world because now everybody thinks that everything you write is AI generated, right? And that's not the case. Well, in some cases, that's not the case. I can't say that's not the case for everybody, but that's not the case, right? So we do have that little bit that we are, I'm even challenged with it right now when I write content. Even if I use certain punctuation, people immediately assume it's AI, and it's not. I've been using that punctuation for years, but now that AI is on the scene, you have to change up a little bit, right? But it's really good to give out some free content, do free workshops, do free speaking, give free consultations, just to build that credibility and trust. How many of you all would agree that a lot of your business, or maybe not a lot, but some of your business comes straight from referrals? People just love your experience. That's how I got here today, actually. It was a referral, right? You leave some sort of impression. You've built some sort of trust and credibility, and that will help you keep going. So think about that if you're not doing that. Think about, and we're going to do a little bit of work on this, what differentiates you from your competitors? What is your unique value proposition? So I have the opportunity to do pitch competitions. I'm either in them, or I judge them, or I help sit on committees to get the people who are doing the pitch ready, right? So I'm doing one in Des Moines next month. And one of the things that people do when they submit for a pitch, right? Most of your businesses are not brand new. It's not a brand new idea. It's not you just bring it forth differently. People can't explain that. So we've had people who own restaurants, right? A restaurant's in a restaurant. What makes your restaurant more innovative? What makes your restaurant more unique? You have to be able to not only write it, but speak it to say, oh, this is a different twist. It is really hard for me to win pitch competitions because nobody really cares about coaching and consulting services. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know that. I knew what business I was getting into. But what does make me unique is I use martial arts with mine, right? I have people breaking boards when I go to conferences. I have people doing martial arts moves. I have the whole nine. You break the board, you get to keep it. It has my master trainer's emblem on it. I do all the things, right? That's what makes me a little bit different. So people remember me from martial arts. I'll dress up in my gi. I'll do the whole thing. They'll be like, they may not remember my name, but they remember that crazy woman who was in a gi in front of them breaking boards, right? That differentiates me from other speakers. You got to think about those sort of things. And then all of these things will drive customer loyalty. I've had people come back to me who I haven't talked to in 5 years, and they've changed a position or something in life has changed, and they're like, oh, I need to get back to Paula Bell. That tells me my brand is working. That tells me I left that impression on them that was memorable. Make sense? All right, good. We're moving good. Okay, so purpose. This is another thing people can't explain to me. Why do you even exist? What is your purpose? So we're going to work on that today so that you all leave here with some things that have been started. Anything I give you today, I'm not expecting you to have 100% done. Okay, this actually takes time. You won't get this done in an hour. You literally do need to think about it, but I want to plant seeds so that you all think. So a lot of people can't explain to me in a real concise way, especially when I do business coaching, entrepreneur coaching, what their organization is, who's their target market, what is the impact. A lot of people will give me real generic stuff, right? I have a passion to help at-risk youth. Sounds beautiful. How? What are you doing? What's the purpose? What's driving you? When you say at-risk youth, you talking about everybody in the world? Or are you talking about a certain demographic? Those sort of things they don't think through. They just have this idea and they're like, well, let's just go with it, right? So what I want you all to think about in your organization, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you work for a nonprofit, whether you volunteer for an organization, whatever organization you pick, we are going to write a purpose story. And you have the template on your handout. And you're going to have about, I think, either 2 or 3 minutes to do this. So it's really, really quick. What I want, I know, right? It's really, really quick because we only got an hour, y'all. So it's really, really quick. Okay, that's why I'm saying you're not going to finish it, but you can at least start it. And you will have access to me after this as well if you need to reach out and just say, I would like to work on that a little bit more. Okay, so when I switch to this next screen, the timer going to start. So I need y'all to get your pens ready. Get your mind right. Y'all ready? Here we go. You got 3 minutes. And if you have any questions, ask. By all means, ask. You just got all this down, Nelson, don't you? You just look like you've already done all this work. See? Not yet, not yet. 30 seconds. Well, I have a spelling issue, a grammatical error in that last sentence, don't I? The N dropped off. All right. I need 2 people to volunteer to share. Who's going to volunteer? Yes, ma'am. Let me hear what you got.
You want me to go first?
Yes, ma'am. Let's hear what you got.
I said, our organization, so I'm a real estate agent and a property manager.
Okay.
So, our organization exists because individuals have housing needs,
Yep.
whether that be buying a house, selling a house, or finding an apartment. Maybe that's their need.
Okay.
We serve or support people looking for housing changes by helping them buy or sell homes and apartments,
Okay.
properties. The impact we hope to create is a smooth, stress-free transition to a better home. Whatever that home means to them,
Mm-hmm.
we want to make it as smooth, less stress as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because all of that is a big change. It's a big
Right.
life change to move or change your housing situation,
Mm-hmm.
and we help people make that easier.
Okay.
In the future, we want our organization to be known for caring about each person and family we have helped. I underline we know them as people with important lives to live. Like after that transaction is done, we still know them and they know us, and I'm a small business. That's what that's all about.
Perfect. I like it. Okay. Very nicely done. Who else would like to share? Yes, sir.
Sure. So we have a bed and breakfast in town. We took it over 6 months ago. So our organization exists because, first of all, people travel to Grinnell, but also want a unique experience they can connect with. We serve and support our guests, the community, and our team by providing hospitality, comfort, sincerity, and connection. The impact we hope to create is a connection to the town, the college, each other that they didn't expect when they walked in the door. And in the future, we hope that our organization will be known for creating treasured experiences.
Very nice. Very nice. Nicely done. So for the 2 of you all who just shared, was there any part of the story that was easier to write than another?
I think it started with the basics, and then even just thinking through it, that creating treasured experiences, something I just came up with.
Like it. See, look, now you got a new slogan. Who would have thought you would have came to this and got a slogan?
I think the beginning was easiest to articulate because what I do and why I do it was easy for me to identify, right? I have a very specific. The harder part was, what do we want to be known for? My type of business, you just want people to trust you, and I think that the referrals is exactly the way we live or it's the way we survive or don't survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
We live off of referrals. Every interaction has to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was hard for me to think about what do we want to be known for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be known for just that. People that know me know that I have some other very large hobbies that bring me into the community. My business, I don't want to be known just for helping people buy and sell houses. I do other things.
So you're going broader than just the organization. That is a whole nother workshop that I do as deeper, and you should, because it all ties together, right? But as far as your realty, that fits, right? It fits with exactly what you want to do. How many of you all found this hard? The whole exercise hard to really articulate what you were trying to do. Okay, this is your foundation though, right? So if somebody was to come up to you and say, so what's the purpose of your organization? And you got 30 seconds to tell them to get a $1 million investment, what are you gonna say? That stuff does happen. It's rare, but it does happen. It does happen. right? You never know. You could be in the airport somewhere and run into somebody who's just itching to donate money. Or they could be a philanthropist and they're just looking at how do I get rid of this money? And you have the opportunity. Can you explain to them what the purpose is? This is stuff we really don't think about because we're so busy grinding. We don't sit down to think about it, right? We don't take out that time to just think about the foundational things on how would I even talk about my organization or pitch about it, right? We all make those mistakes. I made it. 2 years ago, I took a class at Drake. I did their Drake Business Accelerator, and I revamped my whole business model. I was like, oh, so that's why that's not working. I was so busy working in the business, I wasn't working on it. So I was missing things. And so sometimes going back and just even looking at this every year, has that purpose changed based on the environment, right? It doesn't mean it has to stay like this for 10 years. It can change over time. So that's setting the foundation of, first of all, knowing how you would describe your brand and also what's the purpose of your organization, right? So we got some foundational things. Another foundational thing is how are you going to differentiate your brand? What's going to make you different? This is really, really important because this is the time you tell your story. This is the time that you connect with people to tell them why you exist. This is the time you tell them what makes you unique. A lot of people have a hard time with this. A lot of people. When I was like, what's unique about your business? They look at me as deer in headlights. I don't know. Well, we need to figure that out, right? Because that's the story you want to tell. Stats are great, but people remember stories more than they remember data. You can really compel them with a story. I'm quite sure you all will remember the story I told you that I tried to take myself out 3 times, why I do what I do. You'll probably remember that more than half of the slides that are in this deck, right? But there's a reason I said that because I do want that to come up in your mind. Okay, there's a purpose, there's a purpose, there's a purpose. What is it? What is your why? Your why matters. A lot of people also, I'm a life coach. I'm a certified master life coach. And one of the things I ask people is, what is your why? Why do you feel you exist? Again, deer in headlights, right? The first thing they'll tell me, well, I exist to be a parent. Well, you weren't born to just have kids. I mean, when you were born, that wasn't what you were born into. So let's go back to childhood. Before you even had these responsibilities, what was your why? Because a lot of it starts from childhood. A lot of what you're doing in your adulthood has some sort of connection back to childhood in some way, shape, or form, or lived experience, right? So being able to explain your why do you do what you do, and be authentic about it. People are tired of the fake. I'm gonna tell you that right now. People just want real. People can read through the crap, especially in this environment we're in right now. People want the real authenticity, right? They don't want to, we have enough stuff that's raising our eyebrow. We don't want our personal interactions to add to that as well. So that authenticity is really, really important. But you've got to figure out how you're going to tell your story of your why authentically. That's what's going to help you differentiate your brand. And then your unique value proposition. Who are you serving? What is the direct problem you're solving? And how do you do it differently? So here is, for both of my wonderful people who shared, I didn't say anything because I knew I was coming to this. So you told me who you served. You serve very broad. I'm quite sure you could get that down even more concise, right? On who is the population that you truly serve. Me being a coach and consultant, I can say I want to serve everybody in the world. I cannot. It's $1 trillion business. There's no way I can tap into that total market. I'm only one person. And even if I build a team of hundreds of us, we still can't tap into the total market. So what part of the market do I want to serve? So as I gave that example of at-risk youth, maybe someone might say, I want to interact with at-risk youth who are in middle school. Or I want to interact with at-risk youth who've been through the juvenile system. That is my market, right? What is your market? Because that targets your marketing message. That targets how you write. That targets the platforms you deliver to. So for example, if I'm trying to get some of these young people, I have twins. I have 22-year-old boy-girl twins. They're not on Facebook. If that's my market, that is not the platform I need to be using. I need to go over to TikTok and make crazy videos that make no sense to me whatsoever, but for some reason they like it. I need to go over to Snapchat and snap stuff that's just weird. The stuff I get from my son is, I don't even understand. How do you find this stuff, and why is this amusing to you? Because it's not amusing to me, but it's amusing to him, right? You have to know that market because you have to know where that market lives. And I am all over the board depending on where you come into my business. So, for example, my fitness business, I do extreme hip hop step. It's step aerobics on steroids, okay? I'm gonna tell you that. We move fast on that board. We do stuff that you can get injured on the board if you don't do it right. I mean, we move pretty fast on that board. I'm not gonna get 50 and 60-year-olds to do that. I've tried, it's not gonna work. There's a small population, because if you think about it, the amount of pressure you're putting on your shins, your hips, your knees, some of them, they're already worn down. So it's painful. It's not enjoyment at all. You get these young people, they want to do backflips and all sort of stuff on the board. I'm not doing all that either, but it's a different segment population that I'm reaching versus when I do extreme burn, which is Tae Bo on steroids. That's where my 50 and 60-year-olds come in. They love that. They love that at Genesis. They want all the smoke. They didn't want the step. Right? So that's the thing that you have to figure out. Where is your market and what are you serving them with and what makes you unique to do that serving? Make sense? Cool. So now you're going to write your differentiator, right? You're going to have either 2 or 3 minutes. I can never remember how much time I put in these clocks. You have 2 or 3 minutes, and you're going to sit down. You're going to think about, pick one organization. I'm like connected to like 50 of them. So pick one organization, whether it's your personal business, whether it's the org you work for, whether it's a nonprofit or a organization you volunteer for. We're going to talk, I want you to write out what your brand helps to do. Who's your target audience? What's the specific benefit to that audience? And what makes you unique? What's your unique offering? Okay, y'all ready? You got your mind right? Your pens right? Okay, you got 3 minutes. Thirty more seconds. And time. Is there some brave soul who wants to share their UVP? And I'll just tell you, there's no right or wrong answer, y'all. If you share, all we can do is help him make it stronger. That's it. Go for it.
My target audience would be college graduates looking for a more sophisticated wedding or event for their day. Specific benefit is that they can afford a higher class of entertainment and sophistication, yet still have fun for the wedding day. And my unique offering is that I'm a practiced and educated speaker to help present them as they want that vibe to be for their wedding day.
So tell me a little bit more about your business. As you say, college and wedding, what exactly are you helping them with? Like, are you the DJ? Are you the planner? Are you the...
Currently DJ master of ceremonies, but I'd like to move away from the DJ part. More to the MC part.
More to the MC part. Okay. So you want to, and you said what was your unique offering?
That I'm a practiced and educated speaker.
Okay. What do y'all think about that? Would you all be interested in finding out more? Are y'all saying that because you know him and you're being nice? Or would you really, if you didn't know anything about him, would that be enough to compel you to have a conversation?
Yes, but I wouldn't use the service because I wouldn't know how. That makes sense. I would love to find out more.
It would compel you to find out
I
more.
wouldn't pull out any money from my wallet. I guess that's bad.
But no, if it at least will link you in to have a
Sure.
conversation.
Absolutely. Love to hear more.
That's a good thing because then that's where you come and you tell your purpose and your story and all of that, right? To hopefully convert any resistance or whatnot. Okay. All right. Why do you, so you said college graduate. And what I got from that is because they would be able to afford the higher sort of sophistication of delivery.
And the age, their friend groups would be more into the party at the end, or and appreciate maybe what they're bringing to the table as well for entertainment, versus a 20-year-old that doesn't care. In my experience.
Okay, so based on your experience, so what's your age range?
Upper 20s and younger 30s.
Upper 20s to 30s. Okay, I would almost say that more than college educated, and this is why I'm going to say that. Because you have people who do not have a college degree who are making more money than me. Right? So that may not be the distinguisher. Your age group is interesting, right? The age group might be a draw. And then, of course, you would have to have that story. And they probably might have their parents involved or whatnot, right? Because half the time they're coming to us to ask for, my daughter's engaged right now. So she's like, so Mom, are you going to pay for this? I don't know. Depends on how much we're talking about, right? So there's opportunity. And you see, just for having this conversation, we've made your UVP even stronger, right? That's why I'm like, don't ever think that if somebody asks you something in a room and you're like, oh, this doesn't sound great, who cares? Maybe we can give you something to make it sound even stronger and help do the work for you instead of you doing it by yourself, right? So that was really good. I like that. Does anybody have anything that they're just itching to share, that they just want to share to get feedback on for UVP? This is one of the most important pieces of your brand, by the way, is your unique value proposition. Because this is what's going to compel people to go with you than to your competitor. Right? So this is really, really important. So does anybody have any they just have a fire inside of them that they want to share? No? Yes.
I'm new to the chamber, full disclosure, but so we can have like a way different fill in the blanks.
Okay.
I wrote, my brand helps local business owners achieve making money by providing targeted professional development resources and connecting them with the larger community.
Okay, so this is what I would say to you. There are many organizations that provide resources and connect to the larger community. What makes your way of doing it unique? Why should I go with you than somebody else who does the same thing? Right? That's the question. What makes me stand out? What makes the Grinnell Chamber of Commerce stand out? For me, it was Grinnell because I'd never been here. But what makes it stand out? Because there's many Chamber of Commerces. right? But what makes this one stand out? The work that you're doing from the professional development, what are you offering that's different? One thing you might want to talk about is what are the offerings? Bite size could be one, right? There are different things that we offer as a chamber, but we're also so connected with these individuals in the community that we can get you to spaces and make those connections for you so you don't have to make them for yourself. And we actually deliver, because there's many chambers I've been a part of who say they're going to do it and they don't. So just think about what are those things that you can make that even a little bit stronger that makes you stand out. Does that help? Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I would not describe it as
That's fair.
Okay. The brand helps academically inclined, degree-seeking college students achieve their helps them to learn in their desired field to reach their personal and professional goals by offering rigorous courses with expert faculty and staff, global learning opportunities, and the space for meaningful social connections.
That's not bad, actually. Those are really three really great points. The global point is really, it catches me. The meaningful spaces, I would go deeper on that one. What does that mean? Because many people offer meaningful spaces. So what makes your spaces different? Is it the environment in which you go to? Is it how the space is set up? Is it the vibe within the space? What does that space look like that would make a college student want to go, right? Most college students I know want to have fun. So how is the space fun, right? Do you have a DJ in the space? I don't know. I mean, well, he's trying to get out of DJing, y'all, so don't leave him alone. Leave him alone, right? But I mean, what makes it fun? So that's good. It's a great start. You have three very key elements that I like. How can we make those key elements stronger? Awesome. Yeah.
Possible or makes sense to have different UVPs for different segments of your audience?
Yes, ma'am. I have 7 personas in my business, and all of them I reach uniquely differently. Yes. So that's another thing too. When you create the personas, and how many of y'all ever done persona creation? How many of y'all even know what I'm talking about? Okay, so a persona is you actually create a story of the client you want to serve. So you sit down and you think about it. So for me, one of my clients are women in technology from the ages of mid-career professionals of women in technology. So I'm looking more at probably your 40 up, 35 up, sort of, right? And I tell a story. So that's they're called Women in Tech, and then I create a persona. What does this person look like? What type of environment are they working in? You create that persona, and then that helps you determine, well, how do I hit that market? Because I'm gonna hit a woman in tech differently than I'm gonna hit fitness. The mindset is totally different, right? And then I have my fitness component. So yes, I have a unique value prop. Luckily for me, one consistent thread for my UVP is martial arts. That's one consistent thread, no matter what. But there's other components that I add to it. So absolutely. Persona creation is something that I would say, if you're in a business, if you're a business owner, heck, even if you're in an organization, there should be some persona. I'd be willing to do that workshop. That workshop fun as heck to me. I love persona creation. Because you get to tell a story. You just get to sit down there and figure out what do people look like, and then you get to share it with everybody, and then everybody helps you make it stronger. And so you walk out of there with your personas, and now you know how to market. I mean, it's just an amazing experience. So, yeah, put me down for that. If y'all ever want that. I could do that virtually, too. All right, leveraging digital tools and measuring success. So we're in the digital age, y'all. It's going to happen. Social media schedulers, I leverage Buffer. Buffer is free. I can connect up 3 different social media platforms to Buffer for free, and I can send out 10 messages a week. That's all I need. I do not need to be killing my mailing list with a whole bunch of messages. Most people don't appreciate that anyway. Social media schedulers are great. I sit down Friday afternoon. I figure out what I want to send out, whether it's lead magnets, information, what have you, and I send it out. Make your life easy, right? So if you want to get the word out, start building that credibility, that trust, you can use some of these tools to do that. So social media schedulers are great. Email marketing tools, I use MailChimp. MailChimp is really cheap. I don't need anything explosive right now. There's other people who use Salesforce and other sort of CRMs, as they're called, customer relationship management tools. I don't need to go that deep, but I will say to you all, everybody should have a mailing list. If you do not have a mailing list, you're already behind the 8 ball. And every opportunity you can get people to join your mailing list, even if they don't stay on it, get them to join, because that's how you communicate. That's how your referrals can start. So you do not need to get anything. I started with Google, honestly. I didn't have a domain when I first started. That's where I started, and I just grew from there as my business grew. So I would highly recommend that. And analytics and tracking. So here's the thing. If you have websites, if you have your CRM, all of these areas give you data. If you're on Facebook, Facebook gives you analytics. LinkedIn gives you analytics. Google gives you a ton of analytics, especially if you link your website to it. You can get almost everything you need just from Google Analytics, almost, right? The reason why these are important is because these will let you know if what you're pushing out is actually working. Why keep marketing if the marketing isn't getting the attention you want it to get? Right? So leverage these tools. A lot of tools can be free. If you have any questions about tools, definitely reach out to me. Again, my contact information will be coming up shortly. Definitely reach out to me and we have a conversation about that. But there's some people who don't want to use technology. I'm sorry, y'all. Tech is just the way. You're going to have to use tech. I get some people aren't comfortable with it, but that is what we're doing now. So tech, you have to use tech at some point in time. Mm-hmm.
So my husband and I are the only two employees of our business.
Mm-hmm.
We have a regular debate about a website versus not having a website.
Mm-hmm.
And he is convinced that people don't look at websites anymore, that websites are past that. And that is very much not my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
as I check a website before I utilize
Mm-hmm.
any service. And I don't know if that is like a male, female, different of strategy of like, oh, I want to vet it. I want to see what it looks like before I go there. I'm just curious what your opinion is.
No, I still think websites are very viable and valuable. Now, what you put on it is up to you, right? But no, I mean, because this is how I think about it. If I'm offering services or things like that, where are people going to go to find that information? You can create multiple landing pages, but that's confusing as heck, right? I'm typically going to go to a website first, and I'm actually going to go to the website to check for if it's a valid company to begin with, because there's too many companies that are hiding out here in the dark web. But I will also say there are other tools you can use in addition to a website. I'm not saying you need to have a website for your business to do business, right? You don't necessarily need a website. But depending on what your business is, I personally couldn't live without a website. I do too much trainings. People want to know what the trainings are. I'm not creating 50 million landing pages for people to understand what I train on. So I think it really does depend on the business, but I wouldn't go as far as to say websites are out the door. I haven't heard that.
Can I make a side comment?
Yeah.
Being a male accidentally, but 79% of my website traffic is male visitors. I get 140,000 unique website every month with that many of them, and at least like 8% click through and buy books. So the website is incredibly important just because, and they know it's not an AI website. I have to get these things from your commerce prices are horrible. And I said, thank you. And that's how I knew you were doing it. Yeah. AI doesn't commerce prices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, I just don't know how a business can function without some sort of website to go to.
Yeah, we have our Facebook page. And he thinks that's
No. Because not everybody, let me tell you something about Facebook. Facebook is losing steam with certain demographics. So you're missing, you could, depending on who your target audience is, you could be missing your entire target audience because they're not on Facebook. So I wouldn't just rely on one social media platform. And if Facebook goes down, which has happened before, your business is shut down. I had so many of my friends who were like, well, Facebook is gone. Yeah. That's why I don't just use Facebook. Here are some other metrics that you can leverage as you think. And I'm giving you just high level. There are way more metrics than this. I'm going to tell you that right now. But at a high level, if you want to see if your brand is working, Look at your website traffic, you just heard, right? Your conversion rate is great, right? Email open rates, are people actually opening your emails, right? Now, people think that you need to be at 100%. If you're at between 20 to 30% of email open rate, you're probably doing the standard. Most people just don't open up emails. I mean, it just is the way it is. So don't think that if your number is low, it means it's horrible. It just means that you might need to do some targeted testing on what you're pushing out. Social engagement, how many people are engaging with you? I'm torn on this one a little bit because here's the thing, and this irritates me to my soul. I'm on every social media platform, and people actually follow me and read what I say, but they don't like or comment on nothing. So then I hear this amazing testimonial. Well, this, what you posted was great. Why didn't you say anything? I wouldn't know that's working because you're not saying nothing. You're not engaging with it, and I was about to get rid of it, right? So just because people don't comment doesn't mean your brand is broken. I don't know what it is with my demographic. They just don't like to talk. I don't know what it is. No clue, but it's irritating. So real quick, this is a quick 1-minute thing. Google your company, your organization right now, and let's see what comes up. Just go to Google if you have a moment, and let's see what comes up. I want you to see what appears first. Is your messaging and visual identity what you want? Are there any outdated links or information? Just real quick, just to give you an idea of what your, if you go to Google and put in your business or organization, what comes up. Because I'm going to tell you, that's where most people search. They'll go to Google and say, help me find a life coach. Help me find this, help me find that. Or they'll go to AI now too. Help me find this or that. And just take a quick moment and look at if it's what is up there is what you want. And I got about 4 minutes left. Where did the time go, y'all? Yes, ma'am. You can. Yeah.
So, it's really time consuming to put your events on Facebook, on, Instagram, on your chamber website, on, and so I have kind of slid on Google events, but.
Oh, let me tell you, Google is my jam.
Okay.
I have a Google business page. And what I do, here's a way to make it easy for you, right? So depending on what service you deliver, I got put up on game on this a couple years ago, and this has been the greatest thing for me. In my email signature, I have in there 2 things: join my mailing list link and write me a testimonial if my services were great. And what typically tends to happen is when people book services through me, they get the follow-up email saying thank you for this service, and that link comes up. I'll get those reviews, which helps to build my Google presence. And so then Google starts sending me stuff, and when Google has gotten me clients, more than I can say Facebook or Insta has gotten me clients. People just tend to go to Google.
And if you really work hard, Google will feature you.
That part.
Yeah.
Yep, they will.
Your
You will
effort is to try
feature.
to get featured by Google.
It is. I haven't reached that level yet, but then again, I haven't put a lot of effort into it. So yes, when you can come up and you come up in like the top 3, you know you're doing something right. Yes, sir.
Something you just mentioned about putting the effort into it.
Yeah.
Social media can be very damaging if you don't keep it fresh.
That it can be. It depends on what's not fresh on it. So yes, but social media, any platform, actually your website can too, right? If you don't keep, so it does, marketing does take work. It does take you having to go out there and refreshing your content and refreshing your links and making sure things out there are accurate. So yes, it can be damaging as well, as in anything, right? So you do have to put in the work. Marketing is a big component of your business, whether you want it to be or not. I personally, it's not my jam. If I could hire a marketing consultant, I would, and let them do it instead of me. But it is and I'm a solopreneur right now, so it's just me and my business, even though I have staff. Okay, so really quick, we heard a little bit about collaboration and things of that nature. It's really good to collaborate, participate in organizations to get your visibility out there so people know you exist, people know what you do. When people start to see you around the community, you get to be known more, people think about you. That's how also I've gotten some of my speaking gigs, is because I'm in the community, I'm all over the place in Des Moines, right? So I try and support as much as I can other events, other communities, and show up. So sometimes that takes work too, just being visible to allow people to see what you do and where your passions lie. So remember that. Testimonials, get them. Get them, get them, get them. Testimonials is what will drive people to have a conversation with you. Testimonials are so important. That's why I have my Google page set up the way I do. Leave me a testimonial. I take those testimonials and put them on my website. Because if somebody hits my website and doesn't hit Google, I still want them to see those testimonials, right? Testimonials are really important. Some people feel that they've paid me for my service, so I'm good. No, a lot of people will give you a testimonial if you ask them. Look at how many surveys we get every day just going to the doctor. And some of them I do fill out, especially if it wasn't a good visit. So testimonials are good, right? And we talked about referrals. So how can you maximize impact with the limited budget? Again, I'm going to send you all, if you sign up here in a minute, I'm going to send you all this deck. But there are quick wins. Social media can get you with some quick wins. And then there are things that you're just going to have to be strategic on. So for example, Canva, I do all my flyers in Canva. I bought a subscription. Canva is just my thing. I don't have to do a whole lot of thinking. They have great templates. Let's just use Canva. Why reinvent the wheel, right? CapCut, I can do stuff off my phone. If you follow me on social, most of my videos are off CapCut. Even though I do have a video editor and I do video edit, but I will have clips of today's session. I will make a video at some point tonight or tomorrow, and it will post to LinkedIn. That's just what I do. It's for my visibility, but also for the organization that I just spent time with, their visibility, right? If I can tag you, I'm going to tag you. So there's some quick things you can do, and then there's some strategies that we talked about today that you can do. We're not going to do that. Here's my top 5. Today you understood your brand identity, right? So now go back to that first question I asked you. What's one word for your personal and organizational brand? What would you say that word is now? Is the word the same or has it changed? You have a UVP started. Some of you are clear with it. Some of you still have some more work to do. Nothing wrong with that, but you got it. You know some of the things you can leverage from a digital perspective. You know the importance of creating partnerships and being out in the community so people know you. And you know that you can maximize impact even if you have a limited budget. There are a lot of free tools out there that you can use in order to get work done. Again, one of my favorite schedulers is Buffer. I pick Buffer over Hootsuite. Another organization I work with does Hootsuite, and every day I see an email saying that something's going to be sent out. So I just don't pick that one. It could be them too, but I don't know. I just don't pick that one. But there's a lot of different things that you can do. All right, so my call to action for you all is, what is one new strategy you will apply within the next week? What have you learned? What are you going to work on? What are you going to do? You can think about that. And a couple of quick things, just to let you all know, I have a free workshop coming up in Des Moines on April 17th. This is going down deeper into defining your identity and also elevating your culture. I have a good friend of mine, we're doing a retreat in June, and we wanted to do something free for the community. So he's coming up from South Dakota. We're gonna tag team. This is free. So there's no cost to it, y'all. It's a free half-day workshop. We're handling everything. If you're interested, you can click that QR code and sign up. We do have a limit 2 to 3 per organization though, because we don't want one organization dominating. We only have 50 spots. So you can definitely take a screenshot of that and I can send this information out. And here's my QR code if you want to stay connected. You scan this, I will know it's you because it will come in today. I will tag you all and I will send you the presentation. Also, who were the individuals who shared today? Raise your hand. Who shared? Who shared? Who shared? Good, because y'all get a 45-minute free consult with me if you want it. Who else shared? We can talk about anything you want to talk about. We can work on your value prop. We can work on whatever.
Your daughter's wedding?
You do. I am so sorry. Who asked questions? Somebody. You asked the question. You asked the question. Okay. Remind me I said 45 minutes now because I'll send y'all the wrong link in a minute. I will. Anybody I'm missing? Did you get one? Okay, you did. Okay. Anybody I'm missing? Okay, cool. Cool. This is one thing I do ask though. My schedule fills up quick. You've got to renew that in 30 days. Doesn't mean we have to meet in 30 days. You just have to schedule the meeting within 30 days. We can meet whenever. But I'll tell you, I'll forget in a minute. And I'll be like, who are you again? What did I say I was going to do? I'll forget. Any last minute questions? Because I got to do a 90-minute workshop on how to break down bridges, build bridges, not barriers. That's what I need. I'll get it together when I get it in my house.
Hopefully
we're not breaking. I have a question.
Yeah, no.
Where do you teach your stuff classes?
So I do travel. So I teach in Des Moines. However, if there's like a group that wanted, because I have a crew that would probably come with me, like an advanced crew that knows how to do all the movements, so they can do beginner, whatnot. If that's an interest, you just need to reach out to me. We can schedule a time, and then we just travel up here because I'm pretty mobile. Yeah, I'm pretty mobile. I just don't teach out here, but I can teach anywhere. But I'm pretty mobile. If you want to at least try it first, a lot of people are intimidated by it, but it's actually fun once you learn it. So, and you have a killer cardio burn. Thank you all. Did y'all like it? Did you get what you wanted? Okay, good.